Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife news video for you. This is going to be just another fun video like the last one where I'll just talk about stuff that's kind of new and exciting in the industry. I want to start with sort of a fun, let's say just a fun question for you. If you are on Knife News, and if you're watching this video and you're not following Knife News on social media and have their website in your favorites and checking it regularly, please go ahead and do that. One of the really cool things they're doing right now is they're publishing the results of a survey they did where they asked about knives that should always stick around, should never be discontinued, and they're ranking them in number of responses from 25 to number 1. I'd like to know what you think number 1 is going to be. Now I'm going to go out on a limb here and say paramilitary 2. I think in the last few days I've seen this question on Facebook and I clicked the comments and a lot of people think it's going to be the paramilitary 2. It'll be a surprise if it's not. Hopefully, I don't think I've seen today's featured knife. Hopefully number 7 isn't the para 2 because then I know I'm wrong already. But I'd love to hear what you think it's going to be down in the comments below. So go ahead and let me know what you think is going to be the number 1 knife that people recommended should never be discontinued. Let's go ahead from there and stick with Spyderco for a second. Couple new Spideys I'm interested in. Number 1 being the Advocate from Gail Bradley. Number 2 being the Spider Chef. Now I may have talked about these before, but I'll roll in a quick picture. I'm not going to say a lot other than to say I'm kind of excited, and I think we're getting close to where we'll actually see these in stores here shortly. Switch from Spyderco over to CRKT. There are a few things I want to touch on from them. I was able to, 7 Ready Knife Reviews has a CRKT Homefront, and I asked them specifically how is the blade play and is it adjustable. That was my big concern about that knife. If you remember, I was afraid the mechanism would lend itself to kind of a loosey-goosey feel in the knife, and he says it's actually pretty solid. Now I'm not going to rush out and buy one because I still think they're a little overpriced, but it is good to know that at least his example is pretty solid. And you know, I've tried to see about a couple of others and I haven't heard anything bad about it, so that's kind of interesting. It's kind of a cool knife. I think it's right now just a little overpriced, but that'll likely come down, and I'll wait. I'm sure that knife before long will be under $100, and then I'll think about buying one. While we're on the CRKT sort of bandwagon here, let's point out that if you're a fan of the M16, which a lot of people are, they're releasing a titanium Damascus version of it, along with the Kiss, which is an Ed Halligan design. So if you remember, Kit Carson passed away not that long ago, and those Carson flippers, that was kind of his deal, right? So pretty cool. And it's nice, they previously released one that was sort of an homage to him, and this is sort of a second effort along those lines. Since we're talking about CRKT, I think the Amicus Compact, I mentioned that in my CRKT Amicus review, which I think is a great knife, by the way. But in that review, I said they're putting out a smaller one with a G10 handle. I hope, and I still hope they do a big one with a G10 handle, but if you really were waiting for that, I think you can probably start finding them in retailers either right now or fairly shortly. Okay, since we're along those lines, a couple other things that are retailers that I'll let you know about. The WE 602 is out. It's a Tanto style blade with sort of a square, angular, sort of high-tech design. It's pretty cool. Also, the new Kershaws. I think if you were waiting for any of the new Kershaw models, I've looked around a bit. I think they're all out there now. One more thing, and that is the limited run Talwars. Those I've noticed, you've seen probably if you follow me on Instagram, or I think even in a video recently, I have one, and I just forgot to bring it for this video. I had intended to, but Cold Steel does have some colored Talwars out. And if you remember, I'm gonna just, you know, say, hey, look, just kind of pat myself on the back a little bit here. When I did my Cold Steel company review about a year ago, maybe a little more than that, one of the things I said is it would be cool to see some different colored G10, like G10's available in every color you could think of. And a representative from Cold Steel commented on that video and said, hey, you'll be excited for what you see next year. And sure enough, now there's a bunch of different colors. You know, you can get the green and tan limited runs, and now there's blue and the natural G10. So pretty cool, and I hope they put out some other models in those colors as well, and I'm pretty sure that they will. Now, let's move on to sort of industry news. Big thing is Smith & Wesson buying Charade. I do have a Charade here to show you. So that's pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see what that means for the company. Hopefully not too much. The two things that I've heard people say and that I'm totally on board with are, it would be cool to see some North American manufacturing. Of course, being in Canada, hey, Canadian manufacturing could use some help, so that'd be great. But also, I'll be interested to see if it makes any change in the specific products or the direction. Like Charade is a pretty budget-minded company, which is great. But maybe a model that's a little higher end would be nice to see as well. Let me lastly speak in a way that can be understood, but let me lastly just touch on some things about knife laws, okay? Oh wait, before I do that, I've got three other things I want to mention. Bark River is going to be, this is also from sort of industry / new product news. Bark River is going to be coming out with a folder or maybe a bunch of folders. That's really cool to see. If you're not familiar with Bark River, go ahead and look them up online. Very, very good quality, high-end fixed blades. It'll be exciting to see what they come out with along the lines of a folder. Thinking of folders, Opinel is going to be bringing out a new Opinel number 12 in more sort of modern materials. Looks like sort of an FRN handle with an overmolded sort of rubber grip. Again, interesting. I don't know if that means, I wonder if true Opinel fans, and if you're out there, please comment below. Does that represent a departure or a betrayal of sort of their purist, wood handle background, or is this really cool and it's interesting to see them developing? I'm not a big Opinel guy anyway, so to me it's sort of, just news, but I'd love to hear your feedback on that. And finally, the Gerba Mora collab. I've looked at a Mora knife before. I haven't pulled the trigger on one. I probably will eventually. But Gerber and Mora, yeah, Gerba, did go together and put out a Mora style knife that's considerably heavier built than what they usually are. And it looks like a pretty good knife. I'd be interested in checking that out. Looks like they should be available in stores here pretty shortly. Finally, let's touch on Canadian knife laws for a minute. I have here my Zero Tolerance 0200, and I have it here because this knife was specifically mentioned in a case that was posted on Instagram not that long ago. One of the people I follow there posted a letter that he got from CBSA indicating that that knife and a few other flippers were going to be considered prohibited because the flipper tab was considered a button by which you could deploy the blade. Sounds like BS to me, but that could affect a lot of us who are really interested in knives here in Canada. Really sad. Really, if anything, laws should be moving the opposite direction as people develop a brain and say, hey, technology moves forward, right? You can't... Anyway, it's really frustrating. And in fact, I think anyone with a brain at all would realize that a fixed blade knife is faster than any folder, right? I don't care whether it's a fully auto, out the front, whatever. A fixed blade knife is going to be faster because as soon as you get it out, it's already deployed. There's nothing going on there, right? And so to restrict these knives does not make any sense in terms of from a public safety standpoint. So there you go, guys. That's what I've got for knife news. I'd love to hear your comments below, specifically on the things I've asked or anything else you might want to add, and we will talk to you soon. By the way, if you're watching this, please like, please subscribe, please share. There you go. Talk to you soon.